Welcome back, children, to the third part of Class 10 Economics, Chapter 2 Sectors of Indian Economy. In our previous video, we have discussed about the different types of economic activities in terms of its nature, that is, the primary sector, secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. Then, the historical changes in these sectors with the help of various graphs. Further, we discussed about the rising importance of the tertiary sector in production and also try to understand where and why most of the people are employed, and also the concept of underemployment and disguised employment. Further, from all these discussions, we could understand that there continues to be a considerable unemployment in agricultural sector. There are many people who are not employed at all. So, children, in this part of our chapter today, let us see in what way can one increase the employment for the people, or how to create more employment for the people. Most of the farmers in our country have unirrigated land. Now, what the government can do here is it can spend some money, or even the banks can provide a loan to construct a well to irrigate a land, as a result of which a farmer can grow 2 or more crops from his or her land. For example, let us consider that 1 hectare of wheat can provide employment to people for 50 days, which includes sowing, watering, fertilizer application, and harvesting. So, 2 more members of the family can be employed in that field. Suppose a new dam is constructed and the canals are also dug to irrigate many such farms. It could lead to lot of employment generation within the agricultural sector, and this could definitely reduce the problem of underemployment. Suppose a farmer produces much more than earlier. Then, after storing the crops for themselves, remaining can be sold. For this purpose, they may require to transport their produce to a nearby town. If the government invests some money in transportation or the storage of crops, or makes better rural roads so that the small trucks can reach everywhere, then several farmers who have an access to water can continue to grow and sell their crops. Now, this activity can not only provide the employment to the farmers but also to the services like transport or trade in the tertiary sector. The farmers cannot confined to water alone. In order to cultivate a land, they also require seeds, fertilizers, agricultural equipments, and pump set to draw water from the wells. The poor farmers cannot afford to have many of these equipments. Therefore, they will have to borrow money from the money lender and pay a high rate of interest. But if the local bank gives them the credit at a reasonable rate of interest, then they will be able to buy all these things in time and cultivate their land. This means that along with the water, we also need to provide cheap agricultural credit to the farmers to improve farming. Children, further in chapter 3, money and credit, we will look at some of these needs. Now, another way by which we can tackle the problem of employment is to identify, promote, and locate industries and services in semi-rural areas where a large number of people may be employed. For example, suppose many farmers decide to grow arhar or dal, then setting up a dal mill to procure and process these and sell in the cities is one such example. Opening a cold storage could be an opportunity for the farmers to store their products like potatoes and onions and sell them when they get good price in the market. In the villages near the forest areas, one can start honey collection centers where farmers can come and sell wild honey. It is also possible to set up industries that process vegetables and the agricultural produce like potato, sweet potato, rice, wheat, tomatoes, fruits, and so on, which can be sold in the outside markets. And this will provide employment in the industries located not only in the urban centers but also in the semi rural areas. Now, children, what group of people do you think are unemployed or are underemployed in your areas? Don't know, right? Do you know in India about 60% of the population belongs to the age group 5 to 29 years, and out of this only about 51% are going to the educational institutions. Remaining, particularly those aged less than 18 years, maybe are at home or many of them working as a child laborers. Now, if these children need to attend the school, what measures do you think that could be taken up for them? For this, we need to construct more school buildings. Then, more teachers and other staff is also required. A study conducted by erstwhile Planning Commission, the present day known as Niti Aayog, that is National Institution of Transforming India Ayog, estimates that nearly 20 lakh jobs can be created in the educational sector alone. Similarly, if we need to improve the health situations, then we need to construct more healthcare centers and the hospital buildings. We need many more doctors, nurses, health workers, etc., especially to work in the rural areas. Now, these are some of the ways by which jobs would be created, and we also would be able to address the important aspects of development as we have already discussed in your chapter 1. Now, every state or a region has a potential for increasing the income and the employment for people in that area. It could be tourism or the regional craft industry or also new services like IT sector. But some of these would require proper planning and support from the government. Like, for example, the same study by the Planning Commission suggests that if tourism as a sector is improved, then it could give additional employment for more than 35 lakh people. Children, here we have to understand that some of the suggestions that are discussed would take a long time to implement. So, for the short term, we need some quick measures to be taken. On recognizing this, the central government of India made a law implementing the right to work in about 625 districts of India. And it is called as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act of 2005. That is Manrega 2005. Narega and Manrega, it's one and the same. Just Mahatma Gandhi is been added to Narega. Clear? So it has become now Manrega 2005. Now under Manrega 2005, all those who are able to and are in need of work in the rural areas are guaranteed 100 days of employment. If the government fails in its duty to provide the employment, then it will give unemployment allowances to the people. That is, a sum of money paid regularly to the people to meet the needs or expenses. The types of work that would help in future to increase the production from the land will be given preferences under this act. So, what is Manrega, children? It is an act passed by the union or the central government in the year 2005, right, which is both a labor law and a social security measure, because it aims to tackle poverty through the generation of employment of the unskilled labor and thus providing them the income. Okay, children, now it's a quiz time. That is a question answer round of all the three parts that we have covered in the three videos. To refresh our content with the help of question answer round. Okay, children, you're ready with that? Yes. What does GDP stand for? Or we can say, what is the full form of GDP? Is it a gross diversified production, gross domestic product, general division product, or general derived product? Yes, children, what is your answer? It is gross domestic product, right? I think we have understood the concept of GDP with the help of the graphs, right? Do you remember this? Yes. What does this mean? It means the total production of a country in one particular year, right? Yes. Next is banking is an example of which sector? Does it belong to industrial sector, agricultural sector, service, or finance sector? Yes, children, according to you, which sector does banking belong to? It belongs to service sector. Why? Because, children, do you remember when we had tried to understand about the nature of the economic activities, we have come across with three sectors, that is primary, secondary, and the tertiary sector. Yes. Now, the primary sector, what kind of activity it belongs? The activities where people produces raw materials. Yes. The secondary sector is also called as an industrial sector. Why? Because manufacturing takes place, right? Manufacturing of the finished goods from the raw materials. Yes. Now, banking, why banking is an example of a service sector, that is tertiary sector? Because it provides loans to the people. It provides a service to the people, right? So banking is an example of service sector. Now, how many jobs can be generated in educational sector according to the Planning Commission's survey? That is, we have studied about the Niti Aayog, right? Yes. Is it 15 lakh, 10 lakh, 20 lakh, or 25 lakh? So what is your answer, children? It is around 20 lakh, right? Planning Commission survey has told that with the maximum increasing construction of educational institutions, it can lead to more jobs for the teachers, for the teaching staff, and as well as for the non-teaching staff, right? So according to them, according to their calculation, in a year, around 20 lakh people can be given the job in educational sector. Now, which sector in India provides the maximum employment? Is it a service sector, industrial sector, primary sector, or the government sector? We'll come across with the government sector, children. Don't worry about it. Now, which sector do you think has maximum employment? It is the primary sector. Yes. Though we can see a tremendous increase in the service sector, employment in the service sector, but still, if you find out that even after 40 years, right, or the people The maximum employment belongs to the primary sector, right? Okay. Next, the agricultural workers, what are they mainly called as? Are they the skilled laborers, unskilled laborers, the technical people, or the laborers, which includes both the skilled laborers and the unskilled laborers? They are unskilled laborers, right? And that is the reason why Manrega 2005 has been introduced in the rural areas. Yes, because they are unskilled laborers and they should be provided the right to work, that is 100 days work and all those things, right? Yes. Now, what initiatives the government has taken to help the agricultural workers? Are they providing the training programs or the free meal schemes or some hereditary job positions or some other job positions? What is more important for the agricultural sectors, agricultural workers here? It's the training programs. The government here trains the agricultural workers with the good qualities of seeds, the better agricultural equipments, right? And how to use the fertilizers and all those things, right? So this is very important. That is, the training programs are very important for the agricultural workers to improve the production in agricultural sector. Yes, children, because the maximum people are employed in the agricultural sector. Okay, now it's a activity for you. You have to find out why Manrega 2005 is referred to as right to work. We have whatever explanation was done for you was in short. You have to find more information about Manrega 2005, why it is referred to as right to work, and you have to write it in your notebook. Yes, children? Okay, so till we meet in the next class, read the chapter well till whatever we have covered and have a good day. Thank you so much, children.